Check, check, 1, 2. What is your favourite song to perform?
Usually when you've written songs more recently, the ones that are more recent feel kind of more fun to perform because they're still a challenge in a way that often the older ones are not a challenge anymore because you know them really well. So you can become a little bit on autopilot with the older ones, whereas the newer ones are still that challenge in getting from point A, being starting the song, to point B, being finishing it. So generally, newer ones are more fun for me, but what's really fun is when you find the life in an older song as well. And I don't see any song any differently, really. It's just about being present in the moment when you're performing, doing your best to be present so that you can deliver it in a convincing way.
How does it feel to be an inspiration to so many people?
Like a responsibility, because if I didn't have a lot of people watching what I was doing, I wouldn't be as concerned about staying in shape, being mentally healthy, saying the right things, doing the right things in the right order, being successful when I set out on a mission. So when, for instance, I say at the club, I'm going to crowdfund £20,000 in 28 days, I feel like I then have a responsibility to do it and be successful at it. If I say I'm going to lose fat or be in good shape, I feel like I have a responsibility to do those things. So it feels good. It also feels like a responsibility. I feel like my voice matters in the sense that I want to make sure I'm living in a way that I feel is a good influence on the people who I am influencing. So it feels good, and I like it, I enjoy it. And also it feels sometimes stressful because there's a pressure, there's a responsibility to it, but ultimately it feels good, and it feels good because I've had a long and interesting life already in my 34 years, so it feels good to be able to turn the negative things that have happened in my life into a source of inspiration, positivity, and teachings, lessons, wisdom for people who are on the path too.
What do you do for enjoyment besides your creative endeavours? Like, do you go bowling?
No, I just work and nothing. I just work. I do push-ups, I make stuff, I post stuff, I answer messages, I phone people, I do mixes, I coach people, I look after Rosa. I drink coffee in the morning for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I write letters to my daughter Rosa. That's work as well though. I write letters every day. Don't tell Rosa this, but she writes letters to the fairies every night, and I write her responses as if I'm a fairy, writing a response to her. So, but that is, to be honest, it's become another job at the end of every day that I now need to do. So in terms of like unwinding or doing fun things, like I'm not the guy. I'm not that guy. Sometimes I go to the cinema. I find that work because it's research, and I need to sit still for 2 hours and not go on my phone and work. So in a way, the rest has become like work as well. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy my life. I don't need to go bowling because I actually like my life. I don't, not that I'm saying that someone who goes bowling doesn't enjoy their life. I work so hard on making my life be amazing every single day that I don't need to do anything to distract me from my life, because I love my life. But I drink beer at night. I have a little beer. I like that. I quite like watching TV. But again, that becomes research for cinematography, research for making stuff and inspiration, and it's rarely more than 45 minutes at a time or whatever. But I'm not that interested in having fun. I'm interested in winning and suffering. They're the two things I'm most interested in. I think life is suffering. I think that's just, I'm sure not everybody feels like that. That's how I feel. And I think if I focus on trying to have fun, I usually end up miserable. So if I just focus on making stuff and being a decent person to other people around me, then no one gets hurt that way.
Do you feel like the letters to the fairies inspire your songs and how you approach life?
No, I think it's probably the other way around. I think my songs probably approach the way that I write my letters to the fairies, because you bring yourself to whatever you do. How you do anything is how you do everything. So my songs are direct, my speaking style is direct, the letters from the fairies are direct. It's all, for me, about imparting some kind of message, having a message, knowing what you think, knowing what your values are, and imparting that in as clear a way as possible. Like, I just wish, when I was a kid, I wish I'd had that. When I read stuff, when I listen to stuff, I don't want someone to give me some roundabout kind of, just tell me what to do, tell me the way to do it. That's what I want, so that's what I give. And everything's like that. Okay, so this is a pretty standard meal for me, and I want to tell you why. To stay creatively inspired, to stay on point, to be able to consistently create stuff, make results, work for 12 hours a day and feel good about it, you have to eat like this. You just eat protein, fat, no carbs, you eat like that. If you're feeling like you're knackered, you're exhausted, and you're having slumps, it's probably just what you're eating. Yesterday I ate chocolate brownies, toast, it wasn't even that crazy. I ate a lot of good food as well, but I had a pretty standard day of eating, and I woke up today, I felt exhausted, so I'm back on this. This is how I eat most days. Just protein, fats, teensy bit of carbs, that's it. And if you're not eating like this, and you're experiencing bad mental health, low motivation, do this, just do that. I'm not a dietitian, right? I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you unequivocally that this is the best way of eating. What I can tell you is from my own experience as someone who is successful at running businesses and making stuff. If you're not eating like this, and you're eating the standard British diet, the standard American diet, that's probably why you're depressed. That's probably why you have no energy. It's probably why you can't be bothered doing things. So fix this bit and then see what happens.
If we met in 1 year's time, what would we be celebrating?
10,000 club members.
If your life was a book and you were just beginning to write the next chapter for the next 5 years, what would it be called and why?
I'm going to say Arrival, because I've arrived in a different place at this point in time, and you know, in some ways there's a sadness to accepting the limitations of one human life, because there's so many different things that you'd love to be when you're 20. You could be anything, kinda. And now it's like building the club, doing gigs, raising Rosa. That's what my job is right now. And so there's a sense I've arrived in a location. I could never live my life like that. I think
if you could go back in time, what would you tell your 10-year-old self?
There's nothing I could really say to him, because he just had to go through what he went through. Oh no, see my life in slow motion. There's nothing I can really say. I'd just say it's going to work out.
How does taste and smell inform your life?
Not that much. Not that much. I'm a visual person more than taste and smell. Spice. I like to eat spice. I like to But that's a sensation, I guess. That's probably why I enjoy it. And I'm a visual and auditory individual, probably, and sensory. And I'm sensitive in a way. But taste and smell, I don't know. I mean, I eat the same meal over and over again, probably. Wondering of a late night, if I disappear and go into the darkness, would anybody grieve me? When things end, people want us to be friends, but I'm tied to you for the rest of my life.